And by connecting a little bit differently this year, we can all ensure that we come together again for Easter next year. When the numbers are updated on our website tonight at 7 o'clock, we'll have now 615 cases of COVID-19 in our community, and that's up from 554 yesterday. We have 146 travel-related cases and 182 community transmission cases. 217 of those confirmed cases are the result of close contact with another person who is already positive for coronavirus. 70 cases now remain under investigation. We are grateful that 92 people in our city have fully recovered from the virus. Tonight, 85 people are being hospitalized for COVID-19, 55 of those are in intensive care, and 42 people are on ventilators. We wish them all a very speedy recovery. Judge?
Thanks, Mayor. You may remember, I believe it was Sunday, when the Surgeon General came on and warned us that we were entering our most difficult and saddest week. And he certainly was right nationwide. When you look at the death toll in a 24-hour period that ended this last Tuesday at 6 p.m., it was the highest that we ever had. We're experiencing deaths and we're experiencing problems here, not as much as it is in other parts of the nation, but we've got to keep vigilant on this. For those of you that are at home that have someone there that's showing symptoms, that may even have the coronavirus, I suggest you might want to take a look at Consumer Reports. There's some good information in there that you could use to help yourself. It's important, they say, if you're facing like that, to clean the surfaces that are frequent a lot, at least 3 times a day. Now, there's some household products that you have in your home that you could use. Bleach and hydrogen peroxide are certainly ones that you can use. And of course, we say over and over, clean your hands, warm water, and scrub hard. I want to give a special thanks to UTSA professor and researcher Doug Franks. They're playing a major role now in trying to find a cure to this terrible COVID-19 that we're facing. He accumulated over 250 formulas over a period of time, and he's now sending them to the medical branch in Galveston to help cure and develop a cure through using hydroxychloroquine. So hopefully that's going to play out right. Another good reason to stay home tonight. We have some high winds and hail and a storm coming at us if it keeps up like this. Both our emergency departments are working on it. You may want to secure anything that you may have in your front yard and make sure you bring your pets in for tonight. Let me say a couple of things about the upcoming election on July the 14th. There's some federal and state lawsuits that are pending that regards mail-in ballots. We expect to have a hearing on one of those cases on April the 15th. And the decision the court's facing is whether to extend the definition of handicap to include those who fear contacting COVID-19 at the election site. At this time, the Secretary of State has not set any guidelines and has not made it clear what they intend to do. I want you to know I strongly support the scope of mail-in ballots and supporting the lawsuit, and I urge the Secretary of State to set guidelines. This will not only protect the voters and election officials against this terrible problem that we're facing with COVID-19, but it also expands voting rights for everybody. 250,000 of you all voted in the Democratic and Republican primaries this past March. We're getting ready for the runoff. Jackie Callahan, Bexar County election administrator, has 23,000 mail-in ballots that are ready to go. That was how many requested the first go-round. And she's also ordered another 100,000 envelopes if the lawsuit prevails and if the Secretary of State sets it up where we would be able to protect people with COVID-19 through this election. Again, thank you all of you for so much work that you're doing to help us get through this.
Thank you, Judge, and I agree. We have to make sure we expand access to mail-in ballots. And I also want to thank those letter carriers and postal workers who are delivering those ballots even through this coronavirus epidemic. I want to also take this opportunity to remind you that VIA has set a safe capacity limit of 16 riders on buses to ensure adequate social distancing, and that is 16 seated passengers, no standing allowed. It's recommended that you wear a mask in tight spaces for your safety and those around you. And if a bus hits maximum safe capacity, VIA will dispatch a special spacer bus to make sure that no one is left without a ride. As always, you can get the latest information on COVID-19 by subscribing to our text program. Just text COSA Gov to 55000 or visit sanantonio.gov/COVID-19. Stay the course. We will get through this. And now we'll take some questions.
Mayor, you mentioned you had ordered about 2,100 more ventilators from the state. Do you have a status on when we will get those ventilators?
Yeah, we check every day on that. Right now, that request is with the state. We understand that the state has a cache of ventilators, and they are holding on to some of those for use in hot spots. But our request is with DSHS and the state emergency response. So we anticipate getting those ventilators when we need them.
Was there more, any other requests for other type of equipment besides the ventilators?
So we are working on capacity on a constant basis for PPE, all of the hospital resource capacity that we might need, equipment, personal protective equipment. We've been getting that in on a very constant basis, as well as the alternative care facility equipment, the hospital beds that you see at Freeman, which we are in the midst of standing up right now.
You know, I think we've done a good job of reaching out. There's 26 other cities. We've reached out to every one of them. We shipped out a lot of the gear to them, surgical masks for first responders to use. So I believe we're in pretty good shape on that. With respect to ventilators, we still have over 500 and some odd available. Our hospital population is not going up not much more than it was before. I think we may have a couple more people on ventilators, but we're in good shape now. So I would imagine the state's holding those. If we get in trouble or somebody else gets in trouble, they'll be ready to ship them.
Judge, I wanted to ask you about the county's reaction to the COVID from a financial standpoint. I believe that the city had projected it was going to lose $60 to $80 million in revenue, and the county is projecting it'll lose even more, 70 up to 100 million in revenue. Can you explain the dynamics of that, whether that's related to sales tax or property tax?
In our case, 75% of our revenue is property taxes. We have very little with respect to the hotel motel tax, I think 1.75, and a small amount of sales tax. So our work is on property taxes. 93% of our property taxes we've collected for this year already. So we know we're going to get through up till the end of this year. And that's why we're also looking ahead to next year, where we may take that big hit we're doing the freezing the jobs, no discretionary spending, no economic incentives, looking at a early retirement program. We hope to get through next year by not having to lay employees off or to furlough them, and that's why we're starting right now on those programs. But it'll be a challenge this year. We don't know yet what's going to happen at the federal level. I know with respect to the Democrats on this supplemental bill that's coming, they have money in there for local governments. I don't think the Senate had it at the time, but we hope that that's going to prevail and provide some measure of relief to the local governments. We're no different than the businesses out there. We got employees also, and for us to struggle through this, and we have to have a balanced budget. So it makes all the sense in the world that they would look at local governments as much as they would say look at local businesses.
To follow up on that question, how is this kind of changing your vision for what you expected to be your last term as county judge? I believe that you're serving through the end of 2022, and maybe that could affect the creek.
It has certainly changed the whole view. We had a number of major projects that we wanted to do, and we've took the first steps toward doing that. I think it was 200 and some odd million in trailways and river improvements. We were looking at a big bond election on streets and highways. Right now, I don't see how we can do either one of those two. We are funding existing capital projects that have been funded, and we will finish them and get them done, but at this point we're not starting any new ones. So it looks to me like the next year or two is going to be shoring up and doing everything we can to get through this crisis. Now we have a lot of reserves, if we didn't collect another penny in our hot tax, we got 5 years worth of reserves. We didn't ever to cover 5 years of payment. We've got like 18 months to a year of reserves for operating, and so we're in good shape as far as our reserves go, but we cannot dig into those, and we have to take measures where we don't have to dig into those.
Mayor and Judge, for the first time today, we're hearing publicly from the Southeast Nursing Home. They released a lengthy statement saying they don't know how the virus got into their sealed environment. Just checking in with you two if there is an update, if any, on the nursing home.
The update I can give you is unfortunately you know about the toll it's taken on human life. We did have some transports today from Southeast, so we now currently have 10 folks who are in the hospital from Southeast. 4 of those are on ventilators. Of course, anytime you have a nursing home resident transferred to the hospital, it's a serious situation because most of them have, underlying medical conditions. And so our prayers are with them and their family members. It's a very difficult situation. We want to make sure we understand the best we can how the disease originated in there, but we also want to make sure that we contain it. And thankfully, with the contact investigations that went underway or that were conducted with staff members who worked in other facilities, we've not turned up any additional infections, and that's wonderful news, considering the challenge it could potentially pose.
Yeah, we need to really thank the people that are working in these other nursing homes. They're doing a tremendous job. They're under a lot more pressure than the hospitals are under today. And they're having to face that every day, and they know that that's a danger point in a nursing home. So I can't thank them enough. They're, doing everything they can to make it work and risking their own lives with respect to making sure it does work.
Mayor, do you know exactly the number of transports today?
Good evening. Good evening. It is, of course, apparently about to storm all across the city. Looks like the hail and the high winds and the rain are coming in. So thank you for following. If you can like it, share it, push the podcast out. That's what we're about. We're about information, understanding what's happening in the city, what's happening in the state, how that interacts with every one of us as a resident and citizen of San Antonio, what the policy things are, the news of the day, what's happened this week. We try to cover it all on the broadcast. So what we did do tonight, we're going to try to do more often, is live stream the different updates that are coming from the city of San Antonio. So what we did was we plugged in the feed from the COVID-19 update that occurs every day at 6:13 p.m. with Mayor Wolf and Ron Nirenberg. I said a little joke right there. I'm sorry, Mayor Wolf. But Ron and Nelson Wolf update the city about the current status of the COVID-19 statistics and what's happening in the city every day at 6:13. So we'll try to stream that more often. It's good information, and we can figure out what's going on, what our elected officials and leaders of the city are currently doing. Plus, there's a Q&A, but we don't want to drag it on forever. So we'll show probably the first 10, 15 minutes of it, then break away, kind of talk about what else is happening. There were good updates in that I'll talk about here in a second. But as always, please feel free, like it, share it. Let's push this information out, push the podcast out. We want to get active and involved as much as possible, because at the end of the day, I don't care. And I'll say this when I'm talking to people on the page, and I'm looking at the page right now, whether there's comments coming up, whatever's happening, however you're reaching out and trying to get information. If you have questions, right, I'll take anything, good, bad, indifferent. And if you want to have an idea or a thought about something, don't ever hesitate to put it out there. It doesn't matter if we don't agree on it. It's irrelevant. The ability to have a platform and have the conversation and push information, that's all that matters. And then at the end of it, I can guarantee you, I don't care where you fall on an issue. Let's just have a good dialogue and conversation about it and then move on, and we remain friends. And I think those things matter. And then this is nothing more than a platform for information, ideas, and let's get it out there. So like it, share it, push it out. Start a watch party, whatever. We're always thankful for the people who are supporting us and helping us get out there. We want to thank AAA Garcia Bell Bonds and Louis Garcia. His family and that team are always doing what they can to help us in sponsorship mode, right? So they try to push us, make sure we're always getting information out there. And they're big supporters in the community and a wonderful family as well. So Louis, we love you, brother. Thank you. And we're always thankful to our friend Tyler from Speedy Salt, Tyler Hall, Speedy Salt. He helps us out on the team. Check him out at www.speedysalt.com. They're all about making sure you have the salts you need, right, in your home water softener. Plus, Tyler helps us out on podcasts. And we film now consistently at this great little studio and space at Align Mortgage of Texas. So Align Mortgage lets us use their facilities, their studio, the number one VA veteran home loan lender in the state of Texas. Thank you, Align Mortgage and Chris Cano, for always giving us the opportunity. By the way, Chris and I hopped on the show and did a podcast in the middle of the week. So we're going to do them kind of random too, but he hopped on and we had a good conversation about what's happening. We're going to hit some of his key facts and points here in a little bit as well. So thank you, Align Mortgage of Texas. Big thanks, of course, to Salo Rodriguez and Charlie, who are here on the technical aspect. Salo produces. I just sit up here and basically, I bullshit for a little while. And then Charlie keeps it straight too on the tech side. So we're thankful for both Charlie and Salo. We appreciate it. It's good information, good time, and you're a wonderful part of the team. So thank you. But as always, we like to get into some things up front that are fun. Not necessarily too comical today, but I'm actually in control, allegedly here, of the desktop. So we're trying something new where I can call up on the MacBook. I call up the videos and information. So I'm probably going to screw this up. And if you notice, man, you can't see it. I've got my whole tech here. I've got the iPad. I got the phone. Look at this. Oh, Salo's going to drop it down. Oh, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to hustle right now. I got all tech ready to go and my QT. Hey, by the way, man, besides the fact that QT's invading the city, right? They're like on every street corner. Between these and guys selling, candy apples and all these other things. The big QT's everywhere. And by the way, they are the most awesome gas station. They're not sponsoring the broadcast. No. This is purely out of love. QT is the place right now, and they are everywhere. And by the way, you can't walk in there without your mask. You got to be safe. They're taking care of their employees, but they're always open, taking care of business. Man, if you want a pretzel and a drink, you can go get one for like a couple of bucks at QT. It's no joke. My son, Luke, and I are always grabbing pretzels over there. But check it out, man. Of course, I'm repping QT today, so super cool. Thank you. Good things happening in the city. So who's up to good stuff, right? We're going to get into some, we're going to poke at some things. We're going to talk about what our elected officials are doing and some great decisions and bad decisions from City Hall. We're going to cover that too. But there's good stuff happening in our city, period. So you turn on the TV, right? And I guarantee you 99 out of 100 things you see is usually what? Salo. On the news. COVID. It's COVID. And what kind of news is it? It's sad, depressing garbage. Scary. It makes you feel terrible. You hate life. It's scary, and it is tough. And sometimes you want to shield your kids' eyes from seeing a lot of the things that are happening on television. Sometimes I don't want to watch it myself. But what is happening is all the information is bad. Now, look, I get it. I'm not dissing science. I'm not a climate change denier. I'm not any of this. So don't throw your tired attacks at this comment I'm about to make. I do believe that the media has a level of culpability in what's happening right now with the messages and information it's getting out there. There's so much good happening in our city. There's so many people following the rules, doing the good stuff, and all you ever get from the media is bad, 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 garbage, garbage, garbage. Donald Trump sucks. This person's terrible. This company this company that, this family. I mean, it's just really an onslaught of negativity. So we're going to start off with just a couple of good things and some resources, because I think that some of that needs to get out there as well. And look, the media's got a job to do, and it's to push information. But I'm telling you right now, we don't need the media in our world like we used to. This is the truth. The print media, dead. I mean, San Antonio Express News and all that, dead, right? The print media is gone, the newspaper. People can now create their own news and energy source, right, to push information. That's a good thing. And we don't need reporters and journalists and opinion editors as much as we used to, because they've drifted so far away from what reporting the news actually is that you look at it. It doesn't matter which channel you turn it on. I'm not saying it's just CNN. It's Fox. It's all of them right now. You always watch them with a little side eye, like, can I really buy this? And you see all of that. And then you start turning to the alternative news sources, right? Which in our world is now podcasts and social media outlets, and people saying, hey, look, man, this is what's really happening in my city, at my home, in my life, right? And this is just my piece of it, and that's what the broadcast is. But this is my piece of my belief, right? And no one's saying I'm a reporter or a journalist or anything like that. Opinion guy, you can say that all day long. But it does matter how the information moves and gets out there. And I think it's a good thing we've moved past the media, right? And their credibility level, they're struggling in credibility level wise and have been for some time now. Do we need to go back to the days? I mean, do we miss Walter Cronkite and when people sat up there and yeah, we miss those. Edward Murrow or all the legends of reporting news and that held elected officials and government accountable. Those people are long gone. Now they want to create the news. They want to hammer people. They want to destroy lives. They want to destroy people, political, whatever it is. If you don't agree with their set in certain media outlets, that's where they go, man. So you know what? It's a tough time. Got off a bit of a rant on that one, but I think it's a good thing we're moving a little further away from the media now, and we create our own sources. So here's some good things that are happening, and I want to make sure I cover a couple of them because, hey, man, it's cool. So I noticed Cornerstone Church. I pressed it there. Oh man, dude. I am straight up in control of the show right now. So Pastor Hagee and his son Matt, of course, Pastor Matt, out there at Cornerstone Family Relief Services. So Cornerstone Church, www.sacornerstone.org. They reached out because I said, hey man, give us a couple of good names of people that are doing good stuff in the community. So Cornerstone Family Relief Services, check that button out right there. It says order a hot meal, and you could donate to the church as well. And again, it doesn't matter if you're a Christian, if you're Presbyterian, if you're Baptist, if you're Catholic. At this point, we're all just one city involved in this, right? And all of us, man, what we're seeing is everybody starting to suffer now in very similar ways, regardless of your socioeconomic or your religious beliefs or activities, how much money you make. There's pretty much you want to talk about flattening the curve? The curve that's flattening is people are starting to live each other's lives a little bit more. The struggle is so complete now that it's affecting all levels. But Cornerstone Church, how do I bring that back up there? Did I just click it again? No, Charlie. So, yeah, order a hot meal. You could donate here, but check this out. This is what Cornerstone has got a full, please go to the website, look it up on your phone. This is how we're delivering Cornerstone Family Relief hot meals heading out. There's phone numbers, there's contact information. You can see what dinners are available, food time, when it ends. You can sign up, the quantity you need. Cornerstone Church is doing some amazing work out there. It's impressive. And again, notice it doesn't say anywhere on that right there. It doesn't say, check the box if you're Catholic. Like, it's just not, oh, hey, do you love John Hagee? Check the box. No, it's not there, right? Yeah. But you're not going to get kicked out because you walk in and you're not a member of the church, right? So huge. Thank you, Cornerstone Relief Services. Cornerstone, sacornerstone.org. sacornerstone.org. Look it up. Check it out. We should be thankful for everybody trying to do a little bit of good work. Doesn't matter where you are, who you are. Meals, hot meals ready. Then I also saw, and I got to brag about this one a little bit. Let's see where it's at here. Oh, my goodness. Man, so I'm a little slow on this myself right now. I'm looking for the father. Oh, here he is right here. So, okay, I'm getting
Holy Week tradition.
So
With the
here's a
outbreak
video.
of COVID-19,
Is it playing?
churches have been forced to find new ways to worship. Today, Christ the King Catholic Church
We wanna
found a
go through the whole
creative
thing, just a little
way
bit.
to keep the congregation together. Stephen Cavasso shows us even though the church was technically empty, the pews were filled with familiar faces.
A sacred time celebrated by Christians worldwide.
So much of our life is surrounded around this week called the Holy Week.
Father Praveen Lacassetti says Christ the King Church on the city's west side is filled with parishioners on days like today, Palm Sunday. But following the outbreak of COVID-19, church gatherings have come to a halt. Father Lacassetti says the church has been streaming their masses online for almost 3 weeks.
We began this,
story. So Father Praveen Lacassetti used to be at Prince of Peace Catholic Church, where my wife and my family and I are members of the parish. He moved to Christ the King, and I tell you what. So you saw Cornerstone, right? And they're feeding the body. Then you see, and they're feeding the faith and the soul too at Cornerstone. But Father Lacassetti, man, took pictures of families because you can't go to church right now. They've stopped people showing up to church services. I get it. They've recommended against it. Although the governor did come out and say you can. The archdiocese themselves has come out, as have many churches, and said, hey, look, we're going to practice social distancing. We'll conduct mass, church, online, or live stream it. And they're doing the work in the best interest of their community. So Father Praveen goes out and asks for photos of his congregation and puts them on pews as he preaches. And I wanted to show that because we're entering, obviously, one of the biggest weekends in the liturgical calendar. We're coming to Good Friday. It's Holy Week. And it is a very important time for a lot of people of faith. San Antonio, a city founded on faith 300 plus years ago, the Holy Week and this season, right, the Lenten season, Holy Week, has such monumental importance across many religious lines. And to see that about Father Praveen, I think is absolutely amazing. So what a wonderful idea to keep the community involved. And he's still sitting there, preaching. At least, you got to remember, my father's a pastor at Mount Olive Lutheran Church. And my father, Pastor Dave, sits there and he's struggling because he's preaching and there's nobody out. There's nobody out there. He's preaching to the camera, but they're doing the best they can and they're doing all they can. And thank you, Father Praveen, for doing that. And of course, Cornerstone Church for getting after taking care of business as well and feeding people. So feeding the hearts and minds and the body and feeding the soul. Good stuff happening in San Antonio. Now, coronavirus updates. Let's get into the big show here. So here are some stats of what we're seeing. We did see some updates from the mayor today, and we're going to get into those. This is, of course, at sanantonio.gov. If you ever have questions about what zip code, where these cases are, breakout by gender, age, you can also look at ethnicity. But you can find this at sanantonio.gov. You get it on the main page. You're going to click it, and you'll see the COVID-19 surveillance information. Here it is. So as of yesterday's updates, 554. Today, over 600, though. Hospitalized, 117. Recovered, 92. There were 20 deaths. And as mentioned today, prayers for the 2 who lost their lives today to COVID-19 as well. We do a lot of comedy and jokes, and we're seeing a lot of memes and things going on, but this is affecting people in very meaningful ways. And people are losing their lives. And of course, the death toll at that Southeast Side nursing home is rocking the city. That is a very sad case of circumstance. It was discussed tonight by the mayor, but we'll get to that. There's the age groups of the cases. If you'll notice, a lot of talk early on that 70-plus-year-olds, look, senior citizens, people with underlying conditions at huge risk. But look at the breakout of the age right there in that bar graph. And if you'll notice, the highest points of the bar graph are right around there, 40 to 59-year-old people. And then you come down to the bottom down there, Hispanics are ethnicity-wise white and black, but you got to remember the breakout of the city is predominantly Hispanic. And then the source of exposure updated as of yesterday. When you look at that, community transmission at about 28%, that's the unknown. We don't know where it's coming from. Travel-related, close contact at 35%, and they're still trying to figure out the other 14 or so. And then the gender breakout, if you'll notice, is predominantly affecting and continues and has continued in San Antonio to predominantly affect more women than men at this point. But that's the cases and deaths by gender, although cases and cases by gender are starting to split a little bit evenly. So that's what we're looking at. sanantonio.gov. You can look it up and get straight facts and information like we talked about at the beginning. you don't want to deal in all this crazy talk in the media outlets, you can go straight to the facts at the COVID-19 surveillance, sanantonio.gov. So we did today see. So the city voted today, and this is actually out of order. Yeah. It's some changed up about it. Let's see. This is changed up. Now I'm going to have to completely and totally wing it. Yeah, it's not. Wow. So here we go. We'll start right over here. See, that's this number 4 right here. That's all good. Hey, man, we're making up as we go along. We're going to blame it on the inbound weather. That's what we're going to blame it on. So San Antonio, you get an extended stay at home. Check it out. San Antonio stay at home order. So the city council met today. Couple of important conversations, and then we'll talk about the mayor's updates and Wolf's updates as well here in a second. So they extended the stay-home order till April 30th. So that means, the stay-home, work-safe order is still in effect. Everything we're seeing is going to stay the same. One person voted against the stay-home, work-safe order extension. That was Councilwoman Anna Sandoval, which was a little stunning. It was a 10-1 vote to not extend, and she had some comments. I'm going to play it real quick and just to give the first few seconds of it, because she brings up a couple of good points, and I want you to make sure that you know what these people are thinking downtown. So she voted no. Just in case you see that, here's her thoughts on
why is it that you voted no on the extension today?
Sure. Look, the extension and the order itself is a very important part of the response to keeping people safe here. It is. But it is one part of it. There are other aspects.
Why is it that you voted no on the extension today?
Sure. Look, the extension and the order itself is a very important part of the response to keeping people safe here. It is. But it is one part of it. There are other aspects that the city is doing very well. There are additional aspects that I think we need to consider. So I see it all as a big piece of the puzzle, and I'd like to see us consider and explore those other alternatives that will very possibly
remove it. Yeah, let's go. Okay, so hey, we're going to fix this little technical issue because we number these things, and I think the internet, because of the inbound superstorm, is causing us problems. Well, that I could have saved them wrong in the Dropbox. I'll take the blame for it, man. I'm not a techie guy, but I'll take the blame for it. But look, Councilwoman Sandoval voted no. So there's a lot of talk right now, especially with what's happening in San Antonio versus what's happening in New York City, California, New Orleans, Houston, Dallas, Austin. So all these cities are in comparison against each other now, right? But their responses, now most of them follow, like they're sheeple, man. They come in and one city's blasting it on the East Coast, so it starts spinning out of control across the city, hence all the shutdowns and all this talk. Look, it seems to be a script that follows around. We get it. We want to get ahead of it because we're learning from what happened in New York City and these other communities that are having problems with hotspots and with the outbreaks. So what we've seen is, though, it's moved over a little bit down to New Orleans, having a huge problem over there, and people are watching Houston right now. But San Antonio is, look, I mean, for all intents and purposes here, we are well ahead of the curve, but we're doing well. And that information, I think, what Councilwoman Sandoval is, when I see this, and I think it's a wise call on her part. Anybody who stands against the machine, I mean, look at the regular vote, right? Because it's always the same thing, that group think. Look, she basically is saying, hey, we just want ideas and we want more information. There's multiple data points that you need to look at before you extend the order. So got to give her some credit on that piece. I think it's important, and I think it's a good point to recognize that she's sitting there saying, hey, look, we got to learn more. There's a lot happening, and, kudos to her for bringing it up and sitting there saying, look, and I've saw some people in comments on the machine, right, on the Facebook and out there on websites and saying, hey, you're a mistake. You shouldn't have done this. This is a bad decision. I voted for you. I mean, come on, man. She's sitting there saying, by the way, she's got a degree from MIT. She's wicked smart. And she's a data analyst, a climate scientist, and she's got a lot of credentials. Her and I have never saw eye to eye on a lot at City Hall. But she does understand data quantifying and analysis, right? She knows it intently. She's looking at saying, look, she's one of the smartest people on that council. So if I'm looking down there at those people and I'm thinking, well, who's smart? Now, smart doesn't equate to good policy. Don't get me wrong. But she's smart, the smartest person down there, and she's looking at this and saying, hey, we just want more data points and information. So, hey, thank you, Councilwoman Sandoval, because the true point is, we've talked heavily about this. Do we destroy the economy in city? Do we take it down and destroy people's lives in an effect to stop COVID-19? That's the biggest discussion that we're only going to have the answer to when it's all said and done. Like when it's over, when this thing is passed, God willing, in the next few weeks, we get past it, then when we all sit back and we decompress this in the history books, did we make the right decision destroying the city to prevent the spread of COVID-19? Because there are people struggling. I was on the phone with an industry leader today, a business leader, and I was asking her about the government programs, the emergency defense loans, the emergency loans that are coming out, the $10,000 loans, the forgivable loans, the payment protection program loans. There's so many different programs that are, the country's dumping trillions of dollars into the system right now, into the markets. The liquidity's coming out to try to prop up the market, to prop up small businesses. And people are having a hard time accessing those dollars, right? Because, look, the small business owner who accounts for 80% of the jobs in our city, the small business owners having problems qualifying for that. The small mom and pop shop aren't getting to that cash when they need it the most. And they're employing 5, 10, 15 people, right? And they're trying to keep them working and not lose them, right? They don't want to lose employees and people, but they've let them off and laid them go, especially the service and beverage industry, right? The food and beverage industry. Half of these people we know right now that are in the food and beverage industry may not be back at the end of this. So will this be, right? Will this be the right decision? It feels like it's right now, right? Stay home, be safe. We don't see an increase or growth of the COVID-19 numbers in San Antonio. We're blessed for that for now, but the spike is there. It is moving up drastically, but again, 615 cases. Is destroying families going to be the ultimate right answer? We don't know that, and frankly, probably won't until it's all said and done and we all sit down and break it down and make sure we know exactly why we did what we did, and did the decisions make sense? Or did we freak out of what's happening in New York City? Because here's a good example. New York and New York City, 150,000 cases out there. And a ton of deaths, 14, 15,000 deaths. And it is a terrible situation in New York City. California, Governor Gavin Newsom played it completely differently. His state is so well prepared that they're loaning ventilators to New Jersey, New York, Nevada. They're not seeing the spike. Now, he went hardcore on it early and shut things down. So we're going to see if he's able to release and relax these things a little sooner. So there's a dynamic there between what New York is doing and what California is doing. That'll be broken down in the future. And then you look at the Midwestern states and locations where aren't seeing those massive growths yet of infections. And we're going to see if they're able to stop it at that point. And look, at the end of the day, you can sit there, and I agree 100%. You want to save every life possible. Nobody's selling a bong at Planet K above saving a life. I don't think anybody's saying that's the right thing. I'm not sitting here trying to argue that. But how many lives are we destroying as a result of this? That must be quantified in the future. And if we can't bring those businesses and families back, we got a lot of problems. We've got to think about that after it's all said and done. We recap this. We don't need to kick each other around right now, but we need to figure out if it worked. At the end of the day, did it work? And was it the right decision? There are families in our city right now, restaurant owners, small business owners, bar owners. They're gone, man. They're not coming back because they've lost it. And hopefully paycheck protection helps them, but they're not getting to the money. So we got to be worried about that. Who's going to be in business and who's not? And the city, right, with their shutdown orders and all these other things, these declarations are picking winners and losers when they decided who is an essential business and who's a non-essential business. I'm willing to tell you right now that most of those elected officials down there are not essential employees, yet they're still drawing a paycheck while laying off today, like 300 city employees got furloughed today. City council's still taking their check. So are you as essential because you call yourself that? The city spokesperson, is she essential? Should she be drawing the check? These are questions that should be asked. Look, if I'm sitting down there, I don't take the paycheck. If I'm laying people off and employees at the city of San Antonio, I'll drop my check right there. You want to feel what it means? Don't take the check. By the way, city council members just got council pay a few years ago. Nothing says that they or the mayor have to continue to take that check. Hard question to ask. You let people go. Do you continue? I've had to let them go. I'm out. You know what? I'm out. I mean, there's lines of work I've done in my life that are gone. They're gone. I cannot derive income from that. I'm not getting paid. And I've got to now try to apply for the government programs like PPP, the Payment Protection Program, so I can pay them in the future. I'm trying, man. And that's what a lot of people in our city are doing. So I think we need to think about that a lot, right? And we're going to recap this as the time goes on. But it's a fair point. And I saw somebody say that today on social media. If they're furloughing employees, city council members, who's first? Who's going to give up their paycheck in support of the employees they let go? I don't know. I don't know if that's a fair argument or conversation or not. I tell you what I would have done. I'd have gave up my check, right? I'd have suffered in some portion with it, however it needed to happen. Besides, there are hundreds of millions of dollars of wasted spending in the city budget. I can guarantee you 100% there's at least $250 million of wasteful spending. Before the city laid off, and we've got that stat right here, right? So here it is. Here's a fact, right? Implosion of the tourism industry caused by the coronavirus leaves gaping hole in the San Antonio budget. Yeah, I mean, the San Antonio budget is bloated and overwhelmed with garbage. The mayor himself has his housing policy task force that he is going to spend $100 million a year on, that they're already spending close to $50 million a year on. Get rid of that. I mean, put that on pause. Connect SA, pause. All your little pet projects, Green New Deal, pause. Don't do any of these things before you furlough employees. And by the way, they furloughed them because the hotel industry tanked. There's a hotel occupancy tax that funds that. That funds large portions of the city budget. It's called the hot tax. You heard that mentioned in the mayor's briefing. So the hot tax is funded, right, by tourism industry. There's a lot of people that were furloughed, City of San Antonio employees. I would never have furloughed them. Cut the budget somewhere else. I'm telling you, man, there are tens of millions of dollars of pet projects. Before you let a human being lose their job, cut the pet project, right? Don't do it. Didn't see that today. So furloughed workers, 300 plus today by the city. And we are looking at right here as well, 14% unemployment as a result of COVID-19. That's now the new city projections, according to the Express News. So look, 14%, we'll be lucky if it's 14% because there are a lot of folks losing their jobs, man. The country again saw 6.6 million unemployment claims this past week after a previous 6.6 million. If it's 14%, that's worst it's been since the Great Depression. And we've got to find a way to get these people back to work. So like we talked about in previous shows, it's not enough to just shut it down and tell the citizens what you can or cannot do. I'm going to give you a couple examples here in a minute. It's not enough to shut the city down without a plan to bring it back up. Give the county credit. They've got a $5-6 million loan program they put into effect for small business owners right now. You know what the city's doing? Zero. There's no plan for when it comes out. Right? I'm telling you, we're going to be out of this in a couple of months. And when we come out of it, who's left standing? Small business owners need the help and support. We have to jump in and help them rebuild. We have to have small business task force ready to go, action teams to get out there to help them rebuild their plans, apply for small business administration loans. If they can't, micro loan funding, and a squad of people whose life is to rebuild small business at the city of San Antonio. We can do away with the housing policy task force. We can get rid of the green cap, the climate action adaptation plan. We can end all of that. We've got the bond program coming up next year, right? And upwards of $1 billion in bond spending. We've got all these tools. We need to be thinking now on how we come out of this and what we look like at the end of it. And man, I'm telling you what, all the talk that's coming out is shut down, shut down, shut down. Today, the mayor yesterday, and people, we were making fun of this one a little bit, and I got to find it here. Planet K. Man, I'm no good at this, man. I'm telling you right now. This is not going to work for me. We'll just go through it. But look, Planet K was shut down today by the city. They revoked their certificate of occupancy, and then they turned around and shut the water and everything else off. Planet K was deemed non-essential by Ron Nirenberg. All right, fine. Ron Nirenberg then came out today and said, anybody who is violating the stay-at-home orders, right, non-essential businesses, anybody's doing it, you're a bunch of fools. That's what he said today. You're a bunch of fools. Now, Planet K isn't the business to die on the battlefield with. I get it. It's selling bongs. It's, and it's hemp water. It's some questionable, I get it. There's, CBD. I use CBD. I shouldn't be trashing it. But there are things they sell that probably most citizens are not hanging out at a Planet K. They even move themselves to, and Salo and Charlie about to save me because I cannot do this. I can't do the. I got to get better at it, man. Woo, boy. So, zero tolerance for fools who violate public health orders. You know what orders he's talking about is a business he deems essential or non-essential. If you violate Ron's non-essential essential call, you're a fool. Like, I don't get that. People are trying to survive. This case is Planet K. I understand. He shut down another company, or they're threatening to shut down another company called Mega Vape. We had that one out there as well. But what you're doing is picking winners and losers. That's where the city's really, I think a lot of people are concerned about. So the mayor and his, I don't know, whoever these people are out there, attorneys and city staff, whoever was sat in a room somewhere and said, okay, let's go down this list of businesses that we deem essential and non-essential. So they picking winners and losers. They're playing God in a room somewhere. And they said, you are yes, you are no. Your business, good luck to you. I get it. You're Planet K, you're Mega Vape, you're a mattress company. I don't care what. There's a million things that are on the non-essential list. They're shut down. They can't show up. It's over, right? It's over. Small business, foods, bars, restaurants, done, over with, because they can't survive alone on the takeout or drive-through. So what you're seeing is city picking winners or losers. And I personally, as much as I think, look, these public safety orders are important, I think ultimately they will bear out to have been a benefit. Obviously they will. We're seeing it, and people are practicing social distancing and being careful. I just don't agree at this point at the extent of destroying the economy in the entire city. And we have no plan right now when we come out of it. The city of San Antonio has no plan. Bexar County's working on a plan. City of San Antonio, no plan. So when I see this and this shutdown of the public health, right, based on the public health order, I see problems. Because whose business is next? Because Ron didn't deem you an essential business. Who's next? And you will be shut down. And if your certificate of occupancy is revoked, can't work. If they shut off your power and water, which they will, it goes. Planet K, hey, look, man, I get it. They went and they tried to sell beans and rice and toilet paper and stuff outside the shop. They did. They went there, man. They were selling. And this guy, by the way, I don't remember his name. It's like Weidman or Wellman or Wasman or something. I don't know what his name was. But he has a long history of arguments with the city. Like, this guy has taken it to the city before multiple times. He's not, he's got some problems and some history with the city. But they try to comply, right? I think their business out in Universal City is still open. They're doing drive-through essential foods and other services. Plus, they sold some hemp water and a few other things. Not here, again, to argue the essentialness of a bong. But if they try to comply in other areas and they try to do the best they can, I think we got to give those things and thoughts an opportunity to do what's right here. Let me decline this real quick. So I think we have to analyze and see what matters and what happens. And it's a business by business case. I get it. But picking winners and losers and destroying is not going to work. I just don't see it. And I think people are going to get kind of sick of it. But this kind of talk about small business owners, but by the way, it doesn't say Planet K, you're a fool. It says zero tolerance for fools who violate the public health emergency orders. Doesn't work that way, Ron. People are trying to survive. You may not deem them essential. They do, for themselves and their income, their family. When they go home and they've lost their business or career because we shut them down, that is an essential amount of money and income. Small business owners, their business is their life. Everything is pushed into that. It becomes everything. The whole family works in it. And when you shut it down, you destroy. And when it's destroyed, it's only a certain amount of time they're going to survive. That's it. Certain amount of time. And that time limit is going to run out. And when it runs out, there's no money. They don't come back. So let's hope and pray that businesses can survive with the support of the federal government. But calling them fools is just the wrong answer, man. It's the wrong answer. And if we don't fix it, leadership is tough. And I don't have all the facts. I don't know what's going on downtown. I don't get the secret briefings. Leadership is always tough. But consistency matters. And a plan matters for when we come out of this as a community and city. We have to save small businesses. So just something to think about. You know what? Let's do this. Let's just hop up since the tech is all messed up. I admit it. I did it. I screwed it all up. We'll blame it on Tyler. Awesome. But look, I messed it up. Fine. Understood. Let's just go through it, right? Let's go on number 6 or 7, 8, 9, and let's just go through the numbers. We'll make it easy, and I'll just riff when I see news of the day. What I normally do is pull up news of the day. Like, I like to find throughout the week little stories I think you'll be interested in, and then I put them on the list. And what we normally do is we go through it. I just haven't figured out how to multitask it, so I've broken the machine tonight. It's actually now 3 H-E-B employees that have tested positive. This is the H-E-B off of Grissom Road and Tezel. One on the south side, one on the north side as well. I put this up there because I want to say one thing. H-E-B employees completely rock. Like, they are 100%. You don't really think about it. You think, man, thank God for H-E-B. We've been bragging about them for a long, long time. But when you start to see their employees contracting coronavirus and COVID-19, you start to really double check yourself, right? Like, man, these are kids, 16-year-olds working their first jobs. They're 80-year-old employees. I mean, you name it, man. There's a wide range of people of all walks of life that work at H-E-B. And they're in those stores doing a job. You want to talk about essential business? H-E-B is the essential business, right? It's not City Hall. I'm sorry, it's not City Hall. H-E-B, that's an essential business. I know I shop at that grocery store on Calaber and Tezel, and I can tell you right now, man, that place is going to get my business. We're going to continue to go back there. We're never going to stop, and we're going to be thankful for what H-E-B's managed to do. But to see their employees getting sick, it hurts, man. And we got to continue to keep them in our prayers for sure. But we also have to remember that these are what essential really is right here. And look, calling people essential, non-essential is bullshit anyways. Like, it's a ridiculous title. And it hurts people, by the way. You're mad. I saw one of the city's spokespersons, and it pissed me off the other day. She's a spokesperson for the city. I won't say her name, but she's a spokesperson for the city. And she came out, and someone sent me her tweet. And her tweet said how tough her life was because she was an essential employee, right? And that hasn't slept for 9 weeks, and that other parents in the city are simply playing yoga and crafts with their kids. Like, this person tweeted this. It really infuriated me because it was just the simple level of arrogance that was unbelievable. But the point is that you've got people downtown working in the city right now that think they're super essential, right? And like, without them, man, the world would get out of here, man. I'm sorry. We could function with the basic needs right now of city government and get by. As long as we have these folks doing a job. You want to talk about essential? H-E-B is essential. A city spokesperson sitting there bragging about their essential behavior, just really ridiculous. People should be ashamed of themselves, especially when you start acting like because you have a title as an essential business. I'm telling you, man, the family at home who has to stay home because the restaurant or bar has been closed, they're just as essential. So we got to get better at this as a community. And I think we broke down early on when we started dividing the city based on 2 titles, essential, non-essential. And in destroying the community and business and destroying that world right there, we blurred this line now where some people are more important than others. And I get it. You had to do it to see who to shut down and who not to shut down. But I think one of the lessons learned at the end of this is that was dead wrong, man. Because every job is essential because that family, that person working that job is going home to what? They can't feed their kids anymore and they're heartbroken. And because the city spokesperson sits downtown and she thinks she can tweet how essential she is, broke. It's a broke system. You're not that essential. The person working a table at Tinka Taco on Calaber Road at Petranco, the busser, just as essential their job is. So take that home, City Hall. Don't forget that. You are no more essential than the basic entry-level employee in this city because that check to them is essential when they walk home into their house. Pays the rent, pays the gas, pays the fuel, pays the Enfamil. You name it, man. And I know I get a little worked up about this one, but when I saw that tweet, that level of arrogance, it immediately think about Ron Nirenberg and his fact that people who violate orders trying to work are fools. Unbelievable. And I don't know. The arrogance at City Hall, there's some people down there that really need to double think or, recheck themselves and take a step back and say, man, you're not as important as you think you are. And all of us are living the struggle. All of us. All of us at one point or another, money is going to run out. Nothing going to be left in a bank account. Think about that. What do we got next? We can start to move through these a little quicker because we're getting close to the end here. Man, this nursing home therapist thing, the supervisors complained about in the past. And what we're learning about these, and nursing homes have always been, I don't know about you, it's when I was on the council and other things I've seen, they're scary situations, man, because some nursing homes are in homes. They're ran by, they have to be licensed, and there's a lot goes into that. But people it should rise now to the top. We need to be checking. There's 80, 100, I don't know how many nursing homes there are in the city. Man, we need to be living in these places well after the coronavirus and COVID-19. Because this occupational therapist resigned on March 20th, citing the concerns at this facility. There are differing levels of quality care. I get it. There's the monstrously funded, basically resort-like nursing homes. And then there's these entry-level basic ones where people are barely surviving in them. We've got to close those gaps, and we've got the city has to live in these nursing homes now to make sure the quality of care is there. And we see it all over with parents in the nursing home and then their children at the windows just doing the best they can to say hi. And it's heartbreaking to see those things, but it's for their own safety. But when they're in the place that they are supposed to be the most safe, they're losing their life in it because of the quality of care. City needs to live in that. We need to be inspecting these facilities. We need to triple the inspection amounts and get in there and knock them out as frequently as possible. It's a learning lesson. So this is a learning lesson about nursing homes. It needs to be a special focus going forward for the city. Next. What you got next? Just whatever's next. I remember I talked about the church and faith. There is a church that's going to do a revival style service here pretty soon. This made the news. Extreme Harvest Church. I don't know, man. I think we've got to think about this one. This looks like a drive-through church type service, but they're going to hold some work this weekend, and they're going to do a church service. You know what? Most churches in the city have made the decision to do their work remotely and stream it. So I think, that was the right decision. However hard it was for us, as me as a Catholic, to not be in Mass with Father, I see it online. It doesn't have the same. I don't get to take Holy Communion, but I know that it's best at this point to do it. I have some concerns about. Look, faith is faith, and there's the classic Bible line when it comes to church services: wherever two or more are gathered, I am there. Right? That's enough. So don't forget that, churches. And I think some of it becomes, you feel so as a pastor, you want to be there, and you want to give communion, you want to preach, you want to save souls. I get it. But there are times and places, and we got to be careful with this kind of stuff. And we just, hopefully they keep their social distance and these things are protected. I hate to see an outbreak over this, but I wanted to bring this one up because it could be an issue in the future. Need to keep an eye on it. What's next? Yeah, Mega Vape, man. Here we go. City revoked their threatening to revoke their certificate of occupancy as well. Not good. Mayor Nirenberg, of course, as well. Mega Vape was having him reach out to them. Again, who's picking winners and losers at the city? They say Mega Vape's not essential. Mega Vape says we are. Is there court cases coming? What does this look like? Who's going to survive? Is Mega Vape going to be here? Who knows? But the Development Services Department's after it. They got a job to do as directed by the City Council. So this isn't the Development Services fault. It's the City Council. This is who's laid the groundwork and the policy. So we need to think about these things going forward. Yeah. What's next? Oh, man. Okay, so we got through all the COVID-19. We're at the end. Okay, we're wrapping up here. Before I get into this, there's another story I want to tell real quick about Align Mortgage. So we film here. We mentioned that at the beginning of the show. And at Align Mortgage, financial services are still open. Banks are open. Mortgage lending's open. And the owner of Align Mortgage, the founder, Chris Cano, comes on a podcast from time to time. I go on his. We have good time, fun. We talk about all kinds of things. Anyways, he did a commercial. And I just want to throw this one at you real quick. He did a commercial and used the phrase Military City USA. Do we have it? Yeah, the commercial? Yeah, play this commercial. I want you to see. This is the city of San Antonio at its finest. Do we have the commercial? Here
we go. Military City USA. Have you ever wondered why we're called Military City USA? Did you know that more than 200,000 veterans call San Antonio home, but less than 15% have utilized their VA home loan benefit?
It's being rebellious.
We need those.
It's all right. We'll get to when the video comes up. Let me know. We got it?
That have defended our country to own a piece of it. On April 4th, I will be going live on the truth about the VA home loan benefit at 10 a.m. Get registered today on thevatruth.com. Military City USA. Have you ever wondered why we're called Military City USA? Did you know that more than 200,000 veterans call San Antonio home, but less than 15% have utilized their VA home loan benefit? We need those that have defended our country to own a piece of it. On April 4th...
So check this out, and I wanted to show this because this is, again, the city of San Antonio. So Chris Cano does this ad. He referenced Military City USA, and he was served a cease and desist letter for saying that on April 2nd, right? And he was told you cannot use the phrase Military City USA because the city has trademarked it. Stop using it, destroy all materials, or we will follow with further legal recourse. So with all that's happening, we talked about this on Wednesday on a broadcast joint podcast with Chris Cano on the Cano podcast. So I'm not going to get too far into it, but I wanted those of you that didn't see it on Wednesday to see it now. All that's happening in the city, coronavirus, small business breakdown, taxes done, right? I mean, the resources of the city crushed right now. Resources of families crushed. Income, you name it. We got the federal government dumping trillions in. We've got all this chaos in the world, data, stats, and everything. And some suit at the city attorney's office sent a cease and desist order to a small business owner who's trying to put veterans into home loans at the city of San Antonio because he used the phrase Military City USA. So know that, and I just want to throw that out there because know if you're a business owner or if you utter the phrase Military City USA, I just want to say it one more time in case they want to come after me because they may think I'm using it for my benefit. Military City USA is owned by the city of San Antonio. You can't say it. If you say it, you could get sued. The proof was what happened for that commercial had to get pulled. Chris Cano and Align Mortgage of Texas, their whole goal in life is put veterans in homes. And Chris is a veteran just like I am. We lived our entire lives in San Antonio. San Antonio is Military City USA. We love this community. The community loves its veterans. It loves its active duty personnel. As old as the city is, the military history is as rich and the same. Man, back to the Texians, man. As far back as the Alamo, 400 years ago, this has been a hot spot and a hub for military activity, right? This is Military City USA, earned over time. The city doesn't deserve the name Military City USA. City Hall copywriting it because Cheryl Scully or one of them other people downtown decided, let's copyright that. You don't own it if you don't earn it, right? So what are you doing as Military City USA? I want you to think about that. And we'll talk about that one again as it comes up, and we'll see what happens to Mr. Cano on his cease and desist order. But it's ridiculous. This business is trying to keep its employees working and put veterans in home loans, and the city threatens to sue them. Man, I don't know if Ron Nirenberg knows about that, their city council. Chances are they don't. I'm not going to lie. Chances are they have no idea that was written. But somebody needs to recheck what they're doing from a process right now when it comes to threatening business owners and threatening to destroy them. So more to think about on that one, but I wanted to show that video, and let's get after it. A couple key points left. What we got up? What's left here? Oh man, I love this one. Even with the pandemic, many older Americans are carrying on as usual. You know why? Especially our super seniors, our centenarians, the older folks in the city, because they lived through World War II, man. They lived through Vietnam. That's a virus. Right? They're shaking it off. Like, it's kind of crazy. It's good and it's bad. We know seniors need to stay home, shelter in place, and be safe. But I read the article, and it said 99-year-old. Whoa, go back. Don't go. Don't show my tricks yet. What was the one before that?
Before that, it was number 20.
Yeah, we have another before that? So, we're good. So, 99, this story was about a 99-year-old, look at that at the bottom, New Jersey man who went to an engagement party was arrested for defying the state's ban on gatherings. 99 years old, and he's out partying. But look, we can question his judgment. I'm not saying not to question his judgment, but I'm saying that the greatest generation is like, bro, Normandy, bro, D-Day, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. I can go down the list of, 1968. I mean, these things, these whole life things that have occurred, those of us who are the oldest in our community and city, I talk to a lot of them. They're afraid, and they should be concerned. They should shelter in place, take care of themselves. My parents are. But they're also telling me, son, we've lived through much worse as a community, as a nation, as a state. you name it. And when we're out there fighting global tyranny and the destruction of the world during the Holocaust, you're fighting those things. I think COVID-19 has its place on concern lists. Yes, we must be careful. We must watch out. We must watch out. We don't want to push this into any further. We got social distance. We got to be careful. We got to wash our hands. We got to watch our seniors. All that matters. But know that most of our seniors are thinking, I've probably seen worse in this world. I don't want to die from COVID-19. I want to protect my family and friends, but they've seen worse. I'm telling you right. It was a crazy story. I just wanted to share it. So, I guess we'll do some memes and we'll wrap this sucker. I hadn't done memes in a while because I didn't want to get too comedy driven in the middle of a pandemic, but we got to smile a little bit. So here's some smile memes. I don't know who this dude is, but he has taken 6 foot level to a 6 foot social distancing to a whole new level. Smart man. Love you, dude. I don't know what he's got in the back. I don't know what he's carrying in the cart right there. That's a Lowe's. This dude seriously means business. Oh, see, they're kind of out of whack. They're out of whack. Oh, by the way, we didn't pass. This is not a meme. This is an actual policy issue. So roll call, and of course today there's a third and then a fourth stimulus package, and the Senate and the Congress are still fighting over it. Watch it in the news. It's to support small business. They're trying to get more billions, into small business funding through the Payment Protection Program. But they're still fighting over it in Washington, D.C. The Democrats want a little more. The Republicans want a little more. It's just out of control. And they're sitting there arguing over the nuts and bolts. And just get the money to the people. I mean, just get the money to the people and let's make it happen. Get the watchdogs in there, too, so we don't waste this cash. It needs to go to the right people at the right time, but stop arguing and bickering. This is why people hate Washington, D.C. Their approval ratings are the lowest of any job in the world right now. And Washington, D.C. is struggling, and this is why, man, these types of arguments. What's next? Oh yeah. This is actually we're Biden on the Sanders exit. We were all rooting for him. Joe Biden. What are you? We're all rooting for. I can't wait for Trump Biden. Now look, Biden's leading in the polls if you believe such things, but it's not about the polls as we learned in 2016 with Hillary Clinton. It's not about the polls. It's about 8 or 9 states, and if those states go in a particular set to Donald Trump, he's going to be president of the United States. So you can run around all day long patting yourself on the back that you're leading in the national polls. About 8 or 9 of those states are going to decide the presidency. And we'll see what happens. So he can be leading by 11 points right now. That's great. Hillary Clinton was killing him by 15. And then she had a lonely night in 2016. Very lonely night. So don't put your horses before the cart, man. This is legit. Or is it the cart before the horses? Man, even I'm messed up on my sayings. Don't put your cart before the horse, man. We're in some serious trouble. Bernie tests negative for president. Had to show that one. Man, you know what? I'll say this. And here's the Bernie bros. Quiet. He's going to say something. I'm pretty tired. I think I'll go to one of my homes now. I will say this about Bernie Sanders. Disagree with some of his politics, but for sure. But that dude told it like it was consistently for 40 years. You want to talk about a guy sticking to his talking points. Bernie Sanders never budged. And you miss him for his dialogue and his ideas. He is never going to be president. We know that. But he pushed the Democratic, that one man and his ideas and his legion of followers, the Bernies, they call them Bernie bros, but they're bigger than Bernie bros. Those legion of followers and Bernie Sanders have pushed the Democratic Party so far left now. It's going to be, I think, a challenge for Biden to unify them, to bring them back into the party, vote for him no matter. And look, the Democratic Party started this thing with the most diverse, remember that? The most diverse group of candidates in the history of presidential politics. And it turns out a millionaire, 75-plus-year-old white man is who they ended up with. In fact, they had 2 of them at the end. Bernie Sanders is a millionaire too, with multiple homes. So they got stuck at the end with exactly what they complained about at the beginning. They're going to have to live with that. But they got to rally behind him. Is Bernie Sanders going to go there? I think Bernie, because of the man he is, say what you want to say about his politics, he's a man of his word, and he's going to help Joe Biden in the campaign. But man, how far left does Joe have to go to keep the voters he needs to win in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, North Carolina, all these states that are going to be the swing states, Ohio, those Rust Belt states that elected Donald Trump. You can't go too far left and lose them. Going to be a hell of a campaign to watch. And it's going to be a good one. Plus, hey, man, it's two old guys going at it. What gets better than that? When Democrats go, yeah. When they go vote in November and promise they'd never vote for a rich old white man who's been accused of sexual assault. That's pretty much legit. That's legit. And boy, man, Bernie Sanders peoples right now are really pissed off because their guy got pushed out and shoved out. And they've got a lot of problems with Bernie Sanders. In fact, I saw a lot of tweets and comments and Facebook posts today about a lot of the accusations against Joe Biden. So, man, this could get a little nasty. Biden has got a heck of a challenge on his hand to unify the party after what has happened in back-to-back elections for Bernie Sanders and the Democratic Party. Stolen by the DNC and now ran out by Joe Biden. This is the longest something made in China has ever lasted. That's absolutely true. Wow. That's good. That's good. Little fun. What's next? Man, here it is right here. Asked about her illness, Ada Zanuso from Italy. 103-year-old Italian says, courage and faith helped me beat the virus. And she said, I had some fever. That's awesome. I had some fever. All right. I had to show this because I watched The Tiger King and my life will never be the same. Did you like it? I liked The Tiger King. I'm not going to lie. It ended a little weak. But man, you want to talk about a show that'll just blow your mind? You got to watch The Tiger King. I'm just telling you. There's how many episodes? There's 3 episodes, 3 or 4. No, it's 3. I think 3 or 4. But there's another one coming out here soon because they got some updates for it. Because the guy, I won't blow the story for you. But Tiger King is of course legendary, and everybody's got a Tiger King meme or something. But this one I love the most because it looks like Tiger. Tiger Woods next. Okay, if you're reading this and singing it, you're exactly me. You know that song? Halfway there. Whoa. Living on a square. All right, what's that? Take my hand. We'll make it no, don't take my hand in that situation. No, take my hand. Hey, man, I wanted to show this one for my brother. So a 1980s survival knife. Who had one? Man, and you know what they called them back then? Rambo knives. I had them. I think my mom still has it. Dude, you would unscrew the little top. It's got a compass up there, right? Yeah. And you unscrew the top, and there was fishing stuff in the handle.
Yeah. But the most blunt knife ever.
Yeah, I don't think it would cut anything. No, but it's called a Rambo knife, man. Who remembers that? I had one. It was awesome. I carried it with me to Sam Rayburn Middle School every chance I had. No, I didn't. I would have got it. What, anything left? Oh, this is the last one, right? Yeah. So I can't stop laughing whenever I, first of all, I love dogs. So every time I feel I got a tickle in my throat, is that you, Rona? Dude, the dog. This is the most classic dog photo of all time. Like, I want this photo because I want to meme him for multiple reasons.
Yeah. This is my favorite.
Which one's your favorite? Best coronavirus we laugh at. Chuck Norris has been exposed to coronavirus. The virus is now in quarantine. Man, we need to bring Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris, where are you? Oh, I love this one. Yeah, Jussie Smollett. He somewhere is trying to get his 15 minutes of fame back on. Jussie Smollett. Remember this guy? This guy's got about $2 million in fines coming his way. He's gonna get further prosecuted for his little lie. Is that the last one? All right. So I want to thank you. I'm gonna close the lid on this right here. Look, man, it's storming. There's gonna be hail tonight. We watched Ron Nirenberg and his updates, by the way. Oh, one more point. I did want to mention that Judge Wolf talked about, we're going to talk about this one next show. I'm going to do a little, probably a little segment on this one, just rando talking from my selfie stick. But we need to dig deeper into this mail ballot process. So Nelson Wolff mentioned it on the COVID-19 update, that the mayor and Nelson Wolff both support expanding mail-in ballots for everybody. Man, that is going to be a fight. So keep an eye on that one. I have my reservations about expanding mail-in ballots. They want to expand it to include if you're afraid of getting coronavirus, you can do a mail-in ballot. That's what the judge said. The problem with that is Mail-in ballots are rife. I mean, just full of fraud opportunities. If you've been in anything politically, if you've worked on a campaign, you've done any politics in the city of San Antonio, you know about mail-in ballots. There are people in this city who are employed, who have a job. They have a little business, and their whole job is to do mail-in ballot chases. Like, they take mail-in ballots and they go to senior centers, they go to homes, they go everywhere. Disabled home, they go anywhere they can, and they collect these mail-in ballots. They get paid to do it. And their whole focus is, right, these people in this town, there's 2 or 3 of them that do it. Their whole focus is simply mail-in ballots, because they can sit there and they can sway a voter, a senior citizen especially. A voter that doesn't know what's happening, right? Maybe doesn't understand too as well. Maybe has no clue about the politics of what's happening in the city. They just don't know what's going on politically. They'll put it in front of them and get them to vote. Mail-in ballots, you may think, on the surface you think expanding mail-in ballots is a great thing. Expanding mail-in ballot, all you're doing is signing it and attesting yourself that you are the voter. It is full of fraud potential. We're going to take a deeper dive into this one on a 5 or 10 minute broadcast maybe here in the next few days. We have to work, I believe we have to work against expanding it fully to everybody. If they do that, there are people in this town whose lives are solely fed, right? They earn income on falsifying mail ballots. I've seen it. I know how it works. I've seen the process. It's ridiculous. We got to fight it, people. So think about it. We'll dig into it a little bit further. But we appreciate everything you're doing. The broadcast is going to try to stream a little bit odd times. We're going to always try to work at a Thursday at 6 o'clock, though. We feel like that's a good time because Salo has another podcast comes in later tonight, so it works for him, because he's got a new baby. So if he can load these in, we're going to try Thursdays at 6 p.m. We're going to try to always stream when we can at the same time the city's COVID-19 update. And then we'll get back into maybe doing a few mini broadcasts here and there to talk about things and issues that are really hard hitting across the city. So we appreciate you. Be safe out there tonight. Be careful for the car with the hail. We don't know what's coming. Could be worse. Could be some rain. I don't know. Pay attention to what's going on in the city. Pay attention to what's happening with COVID-19. Be safe. Wear your mask if necessary. Wherever you go, if it makes you feel safer, we will help you. Wash your hands. Take care of your seniors. Take care of your parents, family. You know the drill. We're all in this together. That flattening of that curve, I'm telling you where the real curve is. It's all of us living a life now of a lot of equality in this life we're living. Stuck at home, spending time with family, worrying about the next paycheck. How are we going to feed our kids? That's what we're all suffering. I think we're going to come out of this. I know San Antonio's going to come out of this better than ever. But we must have a plan. What's that plan going to look like, City Hall? Don't just tell us what we can't do. Tell us what we can do and what we will do when we beat the coronavirus and COVID-19. Thank you for listening. As always, we appreciate you. We will see you next week and during the week. And as we always close it, the broadcast is out.